Okay, hello, I am Josh, and we're going to be talking about the book Nimona today, and I am here with my co-host.
Hi, my name is Christopher Sosa.
So, let's start discussing a bit more about the book. So, the theme, as I said at the beginning, is identity. What is your identity, and what is the identity of what you want to be? It is just the concept of identity seems to be the theme, and it's done through many uh, god,
Roles.
no, yeah, moral dilemmas. Haha! I totally didn't switch the tab so I could figure that out.
Yep.
Anyways, uh, so many of the moral dilemmas have an effect on the identities and how we perceive these roles of both ends.
And now we question them.
Yeah, and make us question them because that's always fun. You always enjoy questioning people. Uh,
Like how the guy saves the hero in the end.
yeah, yeah, that is a lot. So,
Carrying out the hero from the explosion.
yeah. So, some things that I feel like should be noted because I didn't know them on my first time reading, and then after doing some research, it totally makes a whole lot of sense. This book actually does a bunch of subverting of stereotypes and tropes. Now, there's obviously like the high fantasy and whatnot, and that's tropish, but there's also the sci-fi, and this is important. It is important that the setting is a mix between modern, past, and future. Because I feel that it's stating it doesn't matter what time your identity is found or what your identity is in any given time frame. You need to have an identity and you need to be okay with it. And it's okay for your identity to change. It's okay for it to develop, but be aware. Uh, it also does a lot of gender subversion, or is it? It subverts gender stereotypes. Nimona is the very destructive person. She is very much like I want to wrestle and mess with people, and I don't want to think hard. I just
Demolition.
want to punch. Which
Demolition.
Yeah, she is very, very, very much in that camp of things. She
Breaks
is.
breaks through Black Heart's doors on a daily basis.
I think it literally was a daily basis, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think
literally.
the only time she didn't do it was the day she was hired.
Yeah, she comes back after saving him and then smashes through like 7 layers of doors.
Yeah. Nimona's great, but
Yep.
it goes in one of the interviews I read by NPR. It is stated that Nimona could literally have been a boy or a girl, but she wanted to address how we think of it. Because, in honesty, it's the personality that determines her actions and events. It didn't matter that she was a boy or a girl. And I
It didn't
agree. I,
matter.
I agree. Like, at most, it would have made, like, somewhat more sense, I guess. Because then we would have our little bit of, like, bias towards it. Like where we have this bias of boys are always destructive and whatnot, and eh, not very true out of my friend group. I'll say that
It
much.
diverts away from gender stereotypes.
Yeah, it subverts a lot of stereotypes. It's not the girl getting the romantic role. It is actually the two males, and they're gay. So again, gender that's subverting the gender
Yeah.
stereotype there. Uh, and I think that plays a large part. into identity as well. Knowing what you like. I mean, okay. I it makes sense. These guys have gone through hell and back with each other and are the source of each other's pains.
Josh, I'm just gonna ask, can you check the recording and make sure it's actually still on?
Oh yeah, I've been watching it.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, we're at 52 minutes and 4 seconds.
Yeah.
I am going to be editing the shit out of this.
I'm gonna spend about 5 minutes.
Hopefully. Anyways, uh so a lot of it was trope subversion. Trope subversion, right? No, it's subverting tropes. God dang it. I mean, is it subversion? No, because
I
subversion
don't know.
is like a version of it that's underneath the regular version. It doesn't matter. You get the point. It doesn't follow normal tropes and stereotypes. Though it does have a couple of them that kind of apply, but also really don't because the definition of the trope requires it to be the antagonist or the hero. Like, Sir Goldenloin would be a perfect paragon character type, a character trope, except for the fact that he's an antagonist for a large part of the book, which doesn't allow him to take that role seriously. It doesn't allow him to be that trope, which, yeah. Uh, there are some symbols throughout the book, one of which is a shark. And I've talked to Chris a lot about this because I had so much. What?
On the bus.
Yeah, we have talked about this on the bus. I think I actually talked to you about it a couple times during school, robotics. Regardless, we have talked about this, and I was crazy for a couple of, I think it was for a straight week where I was just trying to figure out what the shark was, what did it mean, because I knew it was important. It is one of two things to show up multiple times on the cover, one of which is the dragon, which makes sense as it is Nimona's like ultra powerful form. Secondly, secondly, it's the shark. It shows up twice on the cover. It shows twice on the back cover, and it shows up 3 times in the book.
I'm just sorry. I'm gonna be back in a minute. My computer just died.
Ah, well, I guess I will just edit all of this out. Editing, 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 editing all this out. Yes, editing,
Okay,
editing,
I'm back.
editing it all out. Okay, we're going to edit out from this point. Okay,
Okay.
resuming. 3, 2, 1. What were we talking about? We were talking
Um.
about the shark. The shark. Okay.
Yep.
Sorry for the little cut there. Something happened to Chris's computer. Doesn't matter. Let's not stay on that. So the shark. It shows up multiple times within the book. It shows up 4 times on the front and back cover. And I just felt like a symbol showing up so often must be important. Especially since it's one of the last things in the book we see. It's one of the first things in the book we see.
It's how he figures out that Nimona's still alive.
Yeah. Uh, and after searching up the definition for shark, so there's obviously the first definition, which is the animal, which, okay, cool. Nimona can turn into a shark. And also a non-shark, a humanoid shark. It doesn't matter. Let's not stay on that one. Uh,
Don't go
there's
down that rabbit hole.
there's there's also the a person who unscrupulously exploits or swindles others. So a person exploiting others, which Nimbona does of Blackheart the entire story, as she is trying to kill the institution for trying to kill her. That is why. Uh, and then the last one, an expert in a specific field. Nimona is the best shapeshifter the world will ever know in that story.
if you can consider her a shapeshifter.
Dude, she can literally turn into objects, though we know why she won't do that. It may or may not threaten her consciousness, and thus, if she is not conscious, she cannot turn back into a person.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Anyway,
let's not go deep into that one.
let's not look too deep. I don't want to get into any, like, flippant theories about
Let's
souls
not.
and
Let's
whatnot.
go. Let's try a sub hour.
Yeah, this audio recording has now hit 57.5 minutes. So we're kind of holding
Yeah.
this one along a bit. Yay!
This is
Anyways,
gonna enjoy this.
anyways, so there's one last thing that Nimona plays a big part in the book about. She is the force that causes everything to change. Everybody's identities seen by the general public changes by the end of the book because Nimona is introduced. She sets off everything. Otherwise, they would have been stuck in an endless cycle where Bowster is still this very, very angry guy for losing, well, for winning a flipping contest and then losing an arm and not allowed to be a hero. Flipping, yeah. So
Yep.
it it, it is very. Nimona sets off the events. Nimona is the whole book is, as the front page flipping review has told me so many times, full of humor and heart. There's a lot of things to be found in this book, and ultimately it is about your identity, how you feel that you want to be seen by others. Effectively, it's about the identity of who you are, who you want to be seen as, and who you're going to become. And I feel like that's an important message for many people. I mean, if you look at a general bunch of people in the real world, the, our identities are so unclear nowadays. We all want to better define ourselves. And quite frankly, I think Nimona tells us that the best way to do that is just to be yourself. I mean, granted, I don't know if I want things to go exactly like how they do in Nimona. I don't want civil war.
I want a dragon burning down my town.
Yeah, I don't want that. But I think there is a message there to be said, like, identities matter. And thus, people should be okay with who people are and be willing to change. Be willing to have your identity be something different. That is what I found to be the theme, the message of Nimona. This ending part was very, very short. The summary was the bulk. Uh,
Yep.
so Chris, in terms of like people discovering identities, here's a good one. Uh, how do you feel that like people how would you propose a solution to people finding their identities in terms of like who they want to be in the future?
Probably just look inside yourself and see what they like in their heart want to be, and not think about everybody else around them.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely a good start. I personally feel as if you should look at your current and past actions and see what you would rather change, and if you and then think about what the consequences of that change would be. What action would bring about that change in you, and then try and make that a core facet of who you are. And then eventually, hopefully, you'll become the paragon of justice. I don't know. I mean, for all I know, you want to be identified as a monkey. If you want to be identified as a monkey, go be a monkey. I don't care.
Yep.
I think one thing that Noel also, well, I mean not Noel, Nimona will teach us is that you don't need to focus on who people are currently as much as
Be your own.
as like the general public may seem like it sucks a lot, but at the end of the day, we suck because we care. I mean, we all point out the flaws in humanity because we want it to be improved. I feel like that's important to note. We all want better. We we all have different information that makes things conflict between us. And quite frankly, if we could state that information more calmly, more plainly, I feel like there would be a lot less conflict. But that's not what this is about. It's about identity. So if you have some identity that you're having problems coming to grasp with, or having a problem becoming, I mean, just look at people who are like that. First off, it's always in good to have an example of what you want to be. And if there is no current existing example, you're going to have to forge that path. I don't know what else to tell you. I feel that Nimona especially reacted to a lot of things going on around her, and that caused her to be the way she is now, where she is very much a killing person because she got tested on by the institution. She has killed so many people. She just has a lot in that department where it's just like she's violent because what she has learned that works is violence. And I feel like a setting does affect your character. So if you feel as if you're in a toxic setting, then try and change that if you can. Uh, anything else we want to add?
Nope, I think you've explained enough.
Woohoo! Anyways, we're gonna be ending the recording at, oh my god, it's an hour and 4 and a quarter minutes.